This episode of BTP Daily is brought to you by Rico Coffee, man. One of the best coffee places you can go to, and they're also selling coffee for everyone all over the place, but it's nice to have some coffee at home. It's also nice to have some coffee somewhere else, but it's also tremendous to go have some over at Rico Coffee. For those of you that live down in South Florida, definitely a place you want to go to. It's over at 2728 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood. And you will enjoy it. JR and the gang have some tremendous coffee, have some tremendous types of coffee recipes and all this other good stuff that you will definitely enjoy. But more what you will enjoy, other than the coffee, let me be completely honest with you on this one, is the people. You go in there, you chat, they talk. What a concept, right? People talking nowadays face to face and, actually caring about what you say. And no need to really look at your cell phone in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, Rico Coffee gives you that more human experience, that human touch, because they care so much about their craft, but they also care so much about making you, the consumer, happy with your cup of coffee. Whatever type of coffee you might like, everybody has different tastes, everybody has different likes. Rico Coffee has it for you. Rico Coffee. It's the people that make coffee good.
Let's see, how do we start this? How do I compare this? How do I look at it? That's a question that I constantly get asked time and time again about what's going on as far as Boca River's concerned, as far as what is going on in terms of this no longer rivalry. It's pretty much, I don't know, a great show. I don't know. It's kind of like a political drama, kind of like Scandal going 5 seasons too long. And that's pretty much what's happened. The excitement, the adrenaline, everything that was involved with the game itself on Saturday. Now we're already on Tuesday and there's nothing, and we probably know less now than we did then. And that's probably the most confusing thing of it all. That's probably the thing that really has people so frustrated. So I don't really care anymore. I really don't want to get involved, kind of thing anymore. Whatever happens, happens. Here's the thing. They're right. Today, it emerges now that the game will not be played in Argentina. The game will most likely be played in Asunción over in Paraguay. That's option A. Asunción ends up also being option B. But now the option that emerges that is quite interesting is Miami. Look, I'll be honest with you. I've said a couple of times, that's BS. That's not true. There's a little bit more truth to it than I would have probably believed. And I've spoken to people, and the probability of it is greater than you would think, and it's greater than I really thought. And I really have to step up on that one and say, hey, you know what? It is a possibility. It is a probability. Now, will it officially happen? That's still up in the air. I really wouldn't be able to tell you that what goes on is that, and look, I've had journalists that have contacted the Miami Dolphins and they haven't really commented, but I've spoken to people and they say, hey, there's a possibility, but there are also permits that need to be created. Remember, now this possibility of Boca River playing in Miami ends up opening a whole nother can of worms, because I know there's one person that wants it to happen and wants it to happen badly, and it's Javier Tebas. Javier Tebas is watching from Madrid, and he is anxious for that thing to really go through, because if it does go through, it opens a fast track to that game in January. Hey, if these guys could do it in 2 weeks, why can't I have my game played on January 26th? The permits are there. They're fine. Everything's there. All the approvals are there. It's an international competition. It's the biggest competition. Why can't I? If they can play the biggest competition, why can't I play an exhibition? Not even an exhibition, a regular season game. Now, is Javier Tebas in the right? Of course. Now, if this goes through, and I bet you he's going through it, I'll have an interview with Diario Sport in the next couple of days with the man that's organizing this, at least from the Miami end. Now, if it goes through or not, that's irrelevant. But it ends up setting a place for Miami, not maybe for the next couple of weeks, but all of a sudden next year, the Copa League final is in another country in a one game situation. Of course, it'll be played in Chile. It'll be played in Santiago. But then in 2020, where would you play it? That's where Miami comes into the mix. Now, is it good for the fans? Absolutely not. Maybe for the fans in Miami. Hey, look, for selfish reasons, I wouldn't mind it happening here in Miami. Why not? But I also have to think about the fans that went to River Plate not once, but twice, and they didn't get to see a game, and they paid a lot of money, and they paid a lot to get there. Now, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to their money? What's going to happen to, are they going to be willing to pay for a flight? Maybe even have to go and establish, some type of visa or apply for a visa to come to the United States. What about the journalists that came from other countries? I mean, there were countries there. I think it was something like journalists from like over 100 countries were accredited. There were some from countries that, if the match were played in the United States, they would not be allowed in. So what do we say then? How do we react to that bit of news? How do we deal with that? Because then we're denying access to event coverage as well. I know I'm going into a lot of different avenues and a lot of different topics that need to be covered, but these questions are going to rise. These questions are going to emerge. These questions are going to be asked of many. The biggest question of all is, what's going to happen to this rivalry? Fine, we talk about what's going on right now, but this is nothing compared to how the next time these two teams play next year, and they will play, mind you. If River wins the Copa Argentina, guess what the Argentine Super Cup is? Boca River. And of course, there's regular season. What happens when they play next time in Copa Libertadores, which they will most likely do that if River ends up winning the Copa Argentina? I mean, right now, we have to deal not with a bandage, but with a band-aid. We have to deal with a big-ass bandage to really cover a wound. But that's all we're doing, because that wound's not healing anytime soon. It actually has gotten worse. And it doesn't even, at this point, it doesn't even matter if you're a Boca fan or a River fan. You're a bit fed up with the whole process. You're fed up with the fact that these two teams have taken the positions that they have, that have in the past put themselves in these positions. I mean, look, Boca in their position, okay, fine. But you go in River, and River were doing the same exact thing in 2015. So much so that the president of River Plate was running around on the pitch at La Bombonera trying to get the matches, trying to get the points right away. That's what people are forgetting. That the same man, Rodolfo D'Onofrio, that was pretty much saying, hey, we have to play this match, 3 years ago was saying a completely different thing. Obviously, different circumstances, but you understand how each side ends up playing. And mind you, at the same time, Daniel Angelici was also singing a different tune. Oh, no, we got to play now. Oh, no. Until they saw that the players, from River Plate just could not. I mean, it was just. I mean, if you saw that match that day, you saw. Come on, give me a break. You're really going to go in that direction and win a cup regardless. But you know what? This cup has been so tainted. I would not even want to. It's just this poison chalice that I would not even want in my trophy case, because it ended up tarnishing everything else that has happened. And you end up being questioned for other things that have emerged because of this incident. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's where it really becomes. It it has digressed into such a fight of epic proportions that we all look at it from the outside and say, but you also have to start looking at the political ramifications. I heard a radio personality here in Miami talking, and the guy, well, not even Miami, well, he is in Miami, but he's on a national network in Spanish. And he said about some of the most stupidest things you could probably hear, saying, "Oh, it tarnishes a country." No, it doesn't. It doesn't tarnish a country. It does not tarnish a country. With that same logic, this gentleman's country, the one who was speaking, by that logic, that means his country's tarnished with the president that he has. Has it tarnished the country? I don't think so. I still think his country, Venezuela, is a wonderful country. Just doesn't have it just has some terrible leadership, but that doesn't tarnish his country. It doesn't make his country look bad. Colombia, just because of its history, did it tarnish the country? No, it hasn't tarnished the country. There was less than 1% of the population that did that. It didn't tarnish the country. It didn't tarnish 50 million people. Is the presidency here, or the president here, tarnishing the country? It may not make the image look very good, but it hasn't tarnished the country in terms of 300 plus million people. So let's be completely honest. This has not tarnished the country. It just makes the leadership there look extremely inept. That's what it's come down to. That's the saddest part of it all. And you start seeing how politically there's a lot of impunity, but then in certain situations there's a lot of heads that have rolled. In this case, only one head's rolled, and that's the Minister of Security of the city of Buenos Aires, who ended up resigning. And he's been the only one. And by the way, there were people arrested just a couple of days ago, and guess what happened to them? About an hour after they were arrested, they were released. They haven't arrested anyone in terms of the bottles that were thrown or the projectiles that were thrown at Boca's bus, at that assault. Nobody's been arrested yet. The way things are going, we'll probably find out who killed Tupac and Biggie before we end up finding out who ended up, getting arrested for those types of. And there was videos, there was all types of videos and surveillance cameras and all this type of stuff, and we still can't find these people. It's the most incredible thing. All of these individuals, because there's political agendas involved. I don't want to get into that end. I really don't want to, because that's a bit out of my paradigm. But I can tell you that there are a lot of those issues going on politically as well. That, again, is what's tarnishing, if there is anything to be tarnished, Argentine football, who should be really languishing and really feeling bad for what's going on. In a league that showed so much potential, it was their showcase moment. It was this moment where they could really jump back into the scene as far as relevance worldwide, and it just crash landed on them. That's the sadness of it all. But it also shows you who the leadership in Argentine football are. And it shows you exactly why it is where it is today.